Hello, everybody. It's a happy Lag Baimer to all. And it's so amazing to be here with everybody. I hope everyone can hear me. And what an honor, what a privilege, what an exciting night. Lag Baimer, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. So much to talk about, so much to say, so many stories. How do you pick a story to illustrate, to describe Lag Baimer, Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, Rabbi Akiva? There's so many things happening. Well, let's start with the story of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai was sitting together with a few of his colleagues, and they were studying, and one of them made a mention about the fact that the streets in the city they lived in were so beautiful and how amazing it was. And Rabbi Yossi was sitting there, and Rabbi Yossi was quiet. Rabbi Yehuda said, "It's so amazing the Romans made this for us." And Shimon Bar Yochai responded that, "Nah, it's not so special. They didn't make it for us. They only did it for their own benefit. They made markets to sell things. They made bathhouses for themselves. They made bridges to charge taxes. No reason to be so grateful. No reason to be so praiseworthy." There was a young boy that was standing there listening to this conversation, and he went home, and he told his father what the three righteous people were discussing. This person went and told it over to the Roman emperor, and the Roman emperor was upset. He was upset that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai would talk negatively about his work, about what he did for the town, about his bridges, about his roads, about his streets, about his marketplaces. He was mad at Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai, ungrateful. And he sent out a decree that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai should be killed. So Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai right away went into hiding, and he first hid inside of the Beis Medrash. And his wife would come every day and give him food. And then after a little while, they realized that the emperor's army was getting closer, that they were hunting for him, and it was no longer safe for him to be in the Beis Medrash. So him, together with his son, ran out of the Beis Medrash, and they found a cave, and they hid inside of the cave. And they were stuck in the cave by themselves. They had no water, they had no food, they had nothing. They were there, they had full, complete faith that Hashem was going to take care of them, and a miracle took place, and a carob tree began to grow, and they were able to eat from its boxer, and a spring appeared, and they had water. They lived inside of the cave for 12 years, completely immersed in the study of Torah, nothing else. And Hashem provided them their food, Hashem provided them their water, and after 12 years, Eliyahu Hanavi came to them and said that now it's safe to leave. They waited in the cave another year, and then they exited the cave. There's so many lessons and so many pieces and parts to take from the story. But perhaps one particular item is that Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai and his son were in the cave, and they had nothing except for their Emunah. They had their belief that Hashem would take care of everything. And because they had that belief, he did. He brought a tree, he brought water in the middle of the desert by a cave. So I'll tell you a fascinating story. There's a camp, a summer camp called Camp Dora Golding. It's been around for years, it's a great camp. And in the camp, there is a learning director. Does a great job, almost as good as the learning director in the zone, Rabbi Reichman, but he's also still good. And every year, in the summer, just like in the zone, they have learning programs and there's prizes. Maybe not as good as the zone, but it's also pretty good. And the whole year, the whole summer, there are contests and there's tickets being given out. And at the end of the year, they make this massive Chinese auction. And they have boxes surrounding the entire dining room. Maybe there they also call it the grand ballroom. And the boys take their tickets and they put their tickets inside the boxes with the different prizes, and they raffle off bikes, they raffle off iPads, they raffle off all sorts of great stuff. They raffle off a shas, they raffle off svarim, amazing prizes. Rabbi Sauber, the learning director of the camp, had a son that was a camper. And all summer long, he's learning and he's participating and he's collecting his tickets. And it comes the end of the season and he has dozens of tickets. And he's already thinking in his mind, should he put 5 tickets into the bike box and 5 tickets in that box? 1 box should get more tickets. Should he put 1 ticket in every box? Him and his friends are discussing and debating, anxiously anticipating for the Chinese auction. The week before the Chinese auction happens, his mother is doing laundry. And the boy, the son, forgot all of his tickets inside of his pants pockets. And the mother was doing laundry and, oh no, she forgot to look and check if there's anything in the pockets. And she does the laundry and all the tickets are in the laundry, and we can figure out what happened to the tickets. A sidebar story taking place the same night. Rabbi and Mrs. Saber have a daughter. The daughter is of the age of shidduchim. She's of the marriageable age. And she's starting to get a little older. And the shadchanim, the matchmakers, weren't calling so often. And she was getting very anxious. And her friends were starting to get engaged, and some of her friends were married already, and some of her friends even had children already, and she's home and she's single. And she was frustrated. And she was talking to her mother, Mrs. Sauber. Probably, maybe she was talking to her while she was doing the laundry, and that's why she got maybe distracted. And she's complaining, she's pouring out her heart to her mother. It's not fair. Why do my friends get all the shidduchim? What about me? When am I going to find my husband? When am I going to go out on a date? And she's pouring out her heart to her mother. And her mother's listening to her, and she's consoling her, and she's being patient with her and caring. And then they finish their conversation. A little while later, this young boy comes into the laundry room, frantic. Mommy, I cannot find my tickets. Where are my tickets, Mommy? I don't know where they are. The auction's going to be in a couple days. And her mother looks up, I don't know, would you leave them last? That's usually when you check when you lost something. So the boy tries to think, where did he leave his tickets? Where are his tickets? And he starts to think, that I leave it in this cubby, checks the cubby, that I leave. He can't think where it was. He says, Ma, 1 second. I had it in my pants pockets. The last time I had my tickets, I had it in my pocket. And the mother asks him, so where are the pants? I put it in the laundry. Ah! You put it in the laundry? I just did a load of laundry. She goes into the washing machine, she finds the pants, and she sees that all the tickets are totally ruined. And the boy is heartbroken. He begins to cry. The whole summer, he's working to collect those tickets, to get those tickets, to get the prizes. He already was imagining which prize he was going to win, riding down the streets of Edison with his brand new bike. He had all the plans. And now the tickets were ruined. And he begins to sob. And his sister, who's in the room, the laundry room with the mother, turns to her younger brother and says, why are you crying? Your father, Tati, is the living director. He'll give you the tickets. Tell him how many tickets he had, and he'll give it to you. Why are you crying? Just talk to your father. He's in charge of the program. Mother looked at her daughter and tells her daughter, why are you crying? Talk to your father. He's in charge of the program. Referring to our Father in heaven, Avinu Shabashamayim. And the daughter took the lesson to heart. And 3 months later, she became a Kala. Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai sat in that cave. He had absolutely nothing. He had no food. He had no water. He had no clothing. The only thing he had was complete and absolute trust in Hashem. That's it. But that's all he needed. When we believe in something wholeheartedly, Hashem takes care of it. We stood by the Yam Suf and we said, how are we going to go in? Rabbi Min said this, I heard it many times, that when the Jews were standing by the river, and the Egyptians were running after them, they had nowhere to go, and they began to cry. And they davened, and Hashem said, why are we davening? Go into the water. Why are we davening? That's what we're supposed to be doing. So Rabbi Min said so many times in the name of Rav Moshe Feinstein, that what Hashem was saying was just have faith. Vayiso, go in the water. Just believe in me, and I'll make it happen. We're living such a hard time. It's so hard. It's so hard. So many tragedies and things are happening, and businesses are closing down, and we think to ourselves, how are we going to survive? Just talk to your father. He's in charge of the program. Everyone should have a happy Lag BaOmer and take the so many lessons of Rabbi Shimon Bar Yochai to heart, especially in these hard times. And we should only have happy celebrations, get together to sing and to dance, not only virtually, but literally in Yerushalayim HaKodesh next year in Meron on Lag BaOmer. Thank you for listening.